Humans aren't the only beings with the apparent ability to teleport. Published by The Buzz in January of 2015, this mysterious video appears to show a canine teleportation. The video, filmed during a street race on an empty motorway in Chile, shows a dog suddenly materializing out of nowhere. In the clip, two cars speed down the track. As the camera swings after them, following the race, a dog suddenly appears in their wake, crossing the road. In slow motion, the dog appears out of thin air in the middle of the road, somehow avoiding the two cars, neither of which budge at all in their straight shot down the track. Did this dog teleport here, as many in the comments seem to believe? Whether or not he did, I think Pog Squatch sums up our sentiment. Scotty needs to be more careful when he beams you down. That was too close for comfort. A YouTuber named Stephanie Famelli hears screaming coming from her daughter's school bus. Multiple kids shouting at the top of their lungs, not necessarily for help, but completely terrified from the sound of it. The driver is shouting something back at them, but to no avail. She creeps up on them without making a sound, but just when Stephanie is about to see for herself what the screaming is all about, the bus suddenly pulls away around the corner, kids yelling all the while,
"Bye bye bus."
Be quiet.
According to her daughter, the kids were screaming that for no reason other than to make the driver mad, but we all know that sometimes kids will make up stories when the truth is too uncomfortable to say, and considering the bus driver was replaced soon after, who knows what was really happening in there. Averys is almost 2 years old. He's happily babbling away in the kitchen when his mother starts to feel a strange presence. This has happened a few times before, so she decides to start recording. Normally, her child is very quiet, but every once in a while, he will become very active and start having a conversation with someone who neither of his parents could see.
Who are you talking to?
Averys' mother finds this behavior very perplexing, so she starts to ask him over and over who he is talking to. Finally, after the third or fourth time, she gets a sinister reply.
Who are you talking to?
Her child looks over his shoulder, almost as if someone is there. When he turns his back to her, a raspy voice says, "Ryan." Listen again with the sound up if you don't hear it. I guess this voice could be coming from Avery, but it sounds like it's coming from someplace much closer, almost right next to the camera. It almost sounds like a slightly different voice than Avery's. Maybe Ryan is a ghostly pal who is looking to make a new friend. YouTuber Moxley's Crazy Adventures posted this haunted graveyard video in November of 2019 writing, "Welcome back to my first haunted graveyard. I went here to see what I could capture, if anything at all. What I did capture was insane. Alright, you reeled us in. Let's just hope you deliver." And Moxley does deliver. He captures a dark shadow-like figure gliding across the backdrop of a lit brick wall. He shouts out to it, but it doesn't respond.
What the hell is that? Hello?
He later hears heavy footsteps nearby. They're clearly heard in the leaves around him. In the comments, YouTuber Spooky Spectre notes that this thing wasn't moving like a human being, nor did the brush move as it passed by. It also didn't respond when being called out to, or make noise or footsteps. Do you agree with Spooky Spectre? Did this freak you out? If not, then you're one brave cookie. A mysterious creature sighted in the woods of Makanda, Illinois, has residents wondering if this video is real or fake. It looks fairly convincing upon first glance, but some parts are questionable, like how this looks more like a boot than a foot when it steps out at 22 seconds. At 23 seconds, it raises its back leg up high like a person would. I think if its legs were really that big, then its footsteps would be much heavier and closer to the ground, but maybe I'm wrong. This video was posted on my subreddit by someone in Palo Alto, California. For well over a minute, these large lights jump all around the sky, changing direction seemingly at random without logic or reason. After a while, the mysterious lights slowly lower to the ground, almost as if landing somewhere unseen.
Yo, what is that?
Oh my gosh.
They're like moving around.
Look at that.
What is that?
This landing maneuver strongly suggests that this is some kind of controlled aircraft, though exactly what it's being controlled by is anyone's guess. The person who posted this video claims to be a pilot and has absolutely no idea what this could be. I thought this could be an experiment with flares, but they say military flares are much smaller and move differently. Whatever it was, I would be particularly worried because, according to his estimations, the strange lights apparently landed about 20 miles from his house. This deer appears to have a massive growth that has taken over the entire right side of its head. I was thinking that this could possibly even be exposed brain, but I doubt it would still be alive if that were truly the case. Either way, the deer appears to be very much alert and not in a vegetative state, which suggests that this is just a growth. But then again, maybe it's going through the early stages of CWD and still has some brain function. The quiet wild animal seems to be completely unafraid of the camera and makes no attempts to get away. Based on its lack of a reaction, I would say this specimen is halfway through becoming an actual zombie deer. Neutralizer Ghost is the name of a paranormal investigation channel in Indonesia that has some really creepy videos. Beyond the outskirts of town lies a ghost colony, and sometimes a paranormal entity or two will wander into some local houses to haunt.
Partner-partnermu, atau pacar-pacarmu. Oh ya,
This one looks small and frail, bound tightly in burial garbs. It has sentience and follows the investigator's movements with its head. He talks to it for a little bit and seems to ask questions in the hopes that it will answer.
Aku yo kesel ket mangga sekitar ketera nemu apa-apa. Saya gak tak barbari. Ini enaknya kita apain teman-teman soal.
The mysterious figure never offers an explanation. They never seem to. He attempts to rip off its face covering and the spirit quickly disappears. He checks all around the area and no longer sees or senses it's near. The paranormal exploration continues for a while until he's convinced the town is clear. Maybe next time he'll get a hold of its robes and finally reveal the spirit figure's true face. What would you do if the downstairs lights of a supposedly empty building next door kept turning on and off? Redditor JC1 posted this video to r/ghosts, writing, "The model apartment next door to mine has a 10-minute timer on all the lights, so every time the front door is open, the lights automatically turn on. When I showed the video to the maintenance man, they said they got chills and had to go buy some salt and candles. This video shows the lights switching on and off of their own accord. Well, not altogether unexplainable, it is unnerving. Some in the comments of this video suggested faulty wiring or a bad sensor. A union electrician says this is pretty common in model houses, as they're not built well. Others get scared by something moving, which turns out to be a tree branch. But the question remains, what if someone or something is opening the front door? The maintenance men are right, it's time for some salt and candles." This rocket ride is a famous local attraction at the Luna Park in St. Petersburg, Russia. Here's what the ride looks like normally, and this is what it looks like after a cable frays to the point of snapping clean through. This angle clearly shows how close the riders are to plummeting hundreds of feet below. Look at the top of the ride. That cable to the left is the only thing keeping them alive. The tip of the ride is bending from the pressure and looks ready to come off. Rescue workers are eventually able to get everyone down to safety, though I'm not sure they felt anything but safe while dangling over 200 feet in the air with no end in sight. According to SS3 Paranormal, a number of people in their house have woken up to others' arms and legs being held up in the air while they're sleeping. They've all paid witness to this, and now it's been captured on security camera. Let's watch. The arm does appear to be held up by some unseen force. It doesn't look natural. Well, this could just be an awkward nighttime spasm. If we trust the uploader's original statement, this has happened to many in the home, which makes me think it's not pure coincidence. What do you think is going on here? What's scarier than being home alone when you think you are, but you're actually not? Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Amy Dancing Again, the Redditor explains that she was home alone and making a TikTok video when she started hearing noises. She writes, "I heard banging noises from the spare room we use for storage. No one else was home and there seems to also be a weird humming noise. The clip appears to be taken in Amy's room. Although faint, you can hear knocking and banging noises in the background. The strange humming sound could be a car passing or some sort of vehicular noise, but as for the banging, who knows? Can you hear that?" Amy asks. "Yes, Amy, we can." Time to take a leaf out of Macaulay Culkin's book and start setting up some booby traps.
January 21st, about 11 p.m. I'm a couple hundred feet from my house, and you hear it going off in the background right now. Kind of sounds weird.
A brave man hears sinister laughter near his house and rushes outside to investigate. The maniacal laughter is moving closer to where he is standing now. He stands by the streetlight rather than going any further into the darkness on his own. I was thinking that this could be a simple coyote, but then he says this.
If foxes and coyotes have been around here that long, why we wouldn't have heard them before? And all of a sudden, since November, things have been just going crazy around our community.
So apparently, foxes and coyotes have been around this area for a long time, and never have they made these kinds of noises before, meaning that this was probably something different. I also really want to know what he meant when he says that strange things have been happening in his community in November. This video was apparently taken on a reservation in Oregon, but if anyone knows which one, then please let me know so that I can do some further research. Anyway, things seem to be quieting down when all of a sudden shots are fired and an unearthly scream fills the night air. If this was not a fox or a coyote, then what could it possibly have been? You may be a skeptic, but if you had to choose a place with all the makings of a haunting, it would probably be a hospital. After all, hospitals are the setting in which many souls depart this earth and enter the afterlife, whatever that may be, but sometimes it seems they stay. Published to YouTube in February of 2020, this clip is part of a series of clips entitled The Haunted Hospital Case. The footage shows a hospital that appears to be empty. A trash can stands in the corner and its lid starts to flip repeatedly. The lid doesn't appear to be mechanical, so who or what is causing it to rotate? But it's not just the lid. Watch beyond. A paranormal figure jogs past. The figure seems to be in the shape of a young girl, however she is entirely cast in shadow, apart from a small blip of white sneakers. Do you think this might be one of the aforementioned souls? If so, where is she running off to? Or what is she running from? A TikToker named Kayla is posing in the mirror when she notices her Snapchat filter detecting a face in the corner of her room. She slowly zooms in to find Snapchat has successfully located a pair of eyes, a nose, and a mouth directly behind her. Even after the filter goes away, you can still see the imprint of a somber face in her bed sheets, neither smiling or frowning. I guess she could have carefully folded the face herself, testing each over and over again until Snapchat detected a face, or maybe it simply came to her like she says. Only Kayla knows for sure, and in my opinion, she looks just as surprised as the rest of us. What should you do when the Ouija board answers you? Published to the r/ghosts subreddit, Nepa Smash asks viewers their thoughts on this scary video, which was filmed during a Ouija board session in a haunted room of their home. In the clip, the group asks if any spirits would like to communicate. After a moment, there is an alarming bang off screen.
Are there any spirits that would like to communicate with us?
Two of the boys look up. Right before the bang, however, another mysterious action unfolds, but it's hard to see if you don't know it's there. A paintbrush is thrown across the room. Although it's difficult to tell in the video, this Imgur photo shows the incident in more detail. Many in the thread think a non-supernatural explanation might be that the guy laying on the floor off to the right could have played a trick on the others somehow, but some note that he doesn't even seem to react. As for the knock, well, the combination of the knock and the projectile does seem uncanny. Setting the rest aside, Redditor Eekecum draws the right conclusion. Please tell me you closed out of the Ouija board after that. Who knows what might have happened if they didn't. This ghost sighting will send chills down your spine. Published to YouTube by TechWorld TV in August of 2014, this video shows a haunted Hindu cremation site. A man arrives at this site in India to investigate a local story. According to the man, he was walking down this dirt road when he saw an entity at this place. The investigator explains that passed away individuals are taken there for their last rites. Nobody lives here, apart from packs of stray dogs. As the man navigates around the puddles on the wet road to approach the ceremonial sites, dogs start barking like crazy at a distance.
In this place.
Then the man shouts that he just saw an entity floating from the building further back. Upon closer inspection of the video, you can see the white vapor the man is talking about. It appears in the darkness under the veranda before floating up and then vanishing. While some point out the vapor moves simultaneously with the camera. One Redditor, Ricky Jaikaran, notes, I would have said it was a smudge on the camera if the dogs hadn't started to bark at the same time. What do you think? Coincidence or a spirit ascending? Anyone who's still in school has no doubt learned by now that remote learning is not very fun. However, every once in a while something will happen to liven up the lesson, or in this case, make it absolutely terrifying. This teacher has been cooped up all by himself for far too long and really doesn't seem to be enjoying his job or much of anything nowadays. To make things worse, the students keep playing a joke on him by saying that there is something watching him from behind. He knows that students like to mess with their teachers however they can, and so he tells them that it's just him and his dog living there and no one else. Little does he know how truly wrong he is.
Tanto el movimiento no existe, relacionado con lo que dice Raúl, el gato de... No me suena la tinga en alemán, pero en inglés.
Around the corner is the pale grim face of a ghost, half covered in shadows as it peers in from the dark hallway. I wonder if her other side is twisted and disfigured. We never get to see. In true paranormal fashion, the scary face dares not to enter the light and retreats before its discovery. The teacher goes on to explain that he just moved into this house, and so there's no way anyone is behind him. But once again, he is schooled by the supernatural.
Por ahí, en ocasiones, las llamadas paradojas. ¿Alguien sabe qué es una paradoja?
The door opens without anyone touching it, and as the girl retreats into the next room, his dog, who has been quiet this whole time, starts barking out like a stranger is near. It whimpers as he closes the door. The poor thing definitely doesn't want to be left alone. Lispy Jimmy is a popular YouTuber and streamer with a loyal audience. But when somebody drops by his house uninvited at 3 a.m., he feels alarmed instead of flattered.
What to do? I don't know what to do. I don't know if this is a fan or not, but...
Now, Lispy Jimmy finds himself in a scary predicament. He definitely does not want to go outside and risk getting attacked, but at the same time, he wants to catch this person on camera for future evidence. He decides to open the door and cautiously scans the yard. He doesn't see anything at first, but then there is some movement across the street. A tall man looks to be in distress as he paces in circles for no apparent reason at all. It's creepy enough to make Lispy Jimmy retreat into the house and check all the locks. He and his girlfriend spend the rest of the video wondering if someone else is there with them and jumping at every sound they hear. But they make it through the rest of the night without incident. I guess they could have staged this video with the help of a friend, but there's also a good chance that it could be a random fan or even an absolute stranger. There just isn't enough evidence for me to tell for sure, but I would like to get your impressions. This video very quickly turns into one of the worst fears that I think most people have. Your parents walking in on you doing something embarrassing. This is believed to be a Twitch streamer from Russia, but I was unable to track down who this streamer is. If you know, let me know in the comments. But anyways, she's in the middle of lip syncing a Japanese song for the viewers watching her Twitch stream. That's when she hears her door opening. She quickly jumps to turn the music off, clearly embarrassed he's just walked into her stream. Apparently, this is her stepdad, and they have a short conversation before she starts closing the door on him. It's always been a fear of mine to get walked in on while singing along to my favorite songs, but I can only imagine how worse it would be to have it happen while in a cosplay outfit and live streaming. It might be time to buy a lock. In many of these drone-on-human encounters, the drone is more the predator than the prey, but in this encounter, the drone operator is kind of both. Jacob Vetter, who published this drone footage in May of 2015, and claims that this crazy lady was doing weird stuff on his porch. In the video, you can indeed see a woman on a porch, dressed with her t-shirt overhead. When she spots the drone up above, she does as most people on this list have done. She tries to knock the drone out of the sky. First, she uses a stick. That doesn't go over so well. Then she tries plush dice. That doesn't work either. Next, she is seen swinging what appears to be a black purse, but she doesn't throw it. Instead, she puts it on and leaves the yard, and paces back and forth waywardly on the sidewalk. It's uncertain what she's waiting for, if she's waiting for anything at all. Finally, she gets on her bike that's been parked on the sidewalk all along, and she takes off rather clumsily, circling around the yard, then jutting out right into the road. It appears that she's definitely on something. What, we can only guess, but the biggest question is, what was she doing on this guy's porch in the first place? This video follows a Filipino ghost hunter who's exploring an abandoned hospital solo. At around 4 minutes in, as he's climbing some stairs, he hears high-pitched shouting. The Redditor who submitted this suggests its scream is that of either a child or a woman. The ghost hunter proceeds to explore the entire floor. All the while, you can hear the screeching in the background. As he nears one end of the floor, traffic is heard roaring out the window. once silence has fallen again, the screaming can be distantly heard, and then at 7:15 very clearly and nearer. The sound is terrifying, but we never find the source. What do you think it could be? My best guess is something paranormal. Redditor HD Gun posted this footage to the Ghosts subreddit. The video shows a semi-transparent figure rush past. The figure is short in stature and appears to enter from behind some plants near the home's fence. Of course, Redditors have some theories. While I'm not sure that I agree it's a parrot, I do think it's an animal. You can see there's a blur, smudge, or lens flare on the lower portion of the camera, which is probably why the figure looked blurred, but to me the figure looks like it's walking, not flying. While it could very well be paranormal, the way it's moving looks like how a monkey walks to me. So I'm thinking now there's a possibility it's a wild animal, but why would it look like this on camera? This clip was posted to the Chills Narrators subreddit by Scream, Aim, and Fire. When you're home alone and you start catching things moving out of the corner of your eye, you may begin to wonder whether you're really alone after all. Scream explains that, days before, she had noticed a bell hanging from the ceiling move slightly, but there was no breeze, and nothing else hanging in the room was moving. Thereafter, when she was home alone, she started to hear things, like people pacing the hallways. She turned on her camera after hearing something fall in the home, as she was determined to go and investigate. The Redditor notes that later, after rewatching the video, a couple orbs flew by. Even scarier, she writes, "I think I saw my mother-in-law's doll move too." Watch the video closely, and you'll see exactly what she's talking about. As she walks into her mother-in-law's room, the doll sitting on a chair against the back wall does appear to move its head ever so slightly. While the orbs captured throughout the video could very well be dust, it's hard to explain the doll's inexplicable movement. Does the Redditor have a Chucky situation on her hands? If so, she'd better flee before the gloves come off. This bar ghost is one angry customer, posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Zazzy Malith. The Redditor claims this clip is video proof that the restaurant she once worked at was haunted. The clip shows security footage shot from behind the bar of the restaurant. A close-up reveals a glass sliding of its own accord and then appearing as though it simply hops right off the counter, smashing onto the floor. Nothing and no one caused it to fall. Zazzy adds to the perplexity of this writing. The glass that fell was one of those wine glasses that are heavier on the bottom to prevent it from falling over, and was sitting on a non-slip rubber mat used commonly in bars. Just one more reason to call in sick. A statue jabs another statue with a trident in the middle of the night if this video is to be believed, which I have trouble doing, aside from looking like possible special effects, because of the awkward way the statue moves. The way the camera mysteriously cuts out as soon as the trident makes contact is too much of a coincidence. This would be really creepy to see in real life, but that'd be the only way I'd be convinced that this video is actually real. Something is active in this quiet home. Published by Memoria Sobrenatural Inc. in April of 2022. The paranormal investigator searches this haunted place, and it seems like an unknown entity is searching him right back, and then the entity grows aggressive after coming across stacked chairs in one of the rooms. They collapse before the man's very eyes. He then witnesses a faucet turn on by itself. It flows full blast. As the ghost hunter tries to catch some sleep, what looks like a mattress falls against the wall. Later, he encounters this shadow figure in the hallway, and then another lurking in the corner of a room. Is something hiding in this curtain behind him? Before you start to panic, nah, just go ahead and panic. It's the time for it. Do you feel like someone's pursuing you? Then you should probably trust your gut. Published to YouTube by Upbeat Yamaha in February of 2019. This video follows a motorcyclist minding his own business on the open road. Wearing a GoPro, he manages to capture a white truck in front of him. Nothing out of the ordinary. Ahead, the truck pulls over to the side of the road. This too appears innocent enough, but after passing the white truck and later taking a turn onto a side street, seeing the truck continue along, you probably wouldn't expect what comes next. The biker returns to the main road, and the same white truck now a ways ahead pulls over again, letting him pass a second time. The biker starts to wonder what's going on. Even more worrisome, he thinks the truck is following him. He suspects the driver might be trying to record his license plate to report him for something. Although he says he hasn't done anything to report, he again pulls over at an intersection and attempts to wait out the suspect, who has stopped as well. The biker says the man in the truck is attempting to wave him on. After a brief face-off, the biker turns to the left, noting the guy's plate number and saying he was taking pictures of him. While the video doesn't come to any concrete conclusion about what the white truck wanted, the biker suspects that he's dealt with the same man before. Some in the comments think it's probably just some angry boomer who's mad about how loud the bike is. Others advise that if this happens again, to pull into a fire station, as they most certainly will help someone being followed. A cautionary tale if there ever was one. For all we know, this lurker could have had even more sinister motives. Fisherman's Chronicles gets a catch while kayaking in the San Francisco Bay, but you'll never guess what he's caught on camera, or rather, what's caught him.
Oh my, that's a fish on. That's a fish on. Oh my, this is a big fish on. I got a big fish on. Oh, this is a halibut. It's for sure a keeper.
He thinks he's hooked a halibut, but it's much worse than that. A stingray. Its whipping tail is like a serrated needle that will mess you up in seconds flat. He has to get the hook out of its mouth fast while avoiding the tail.
Wow, look at, got a good view of that. This guy's trying to sting me.
Nothing new for him. He's caught hundreds of them before, but I guess everyone can make a mistake. The tail connects and a barbed wire feeling races up his arm. Now he has to get the hook out with the ray in his lap, and he's lucky it doesn't take a chunk out of his thigh here at 7 minutes and 17 seconds. They do have razor sharp teeth. He gets to a hospital as fast as he can, and this is the end result.
Well, I had to row like half a mile back to the kayak launch with a stingray tail like sticking out of my arm.
It's healed up nicely since, and he doesn't have any nerve damage to speak of, but it's not something I would ever want to go through, and I hope he never does again. He's lucky it wasn't higher up and nicked an artery. Also, I just wanted to commend him for not getting angry at the stingray for defending itself. He focuses on getting the hook out of the stingray first before getting help for himself.
I still want to release this guy as fast as possible.
I think everyone's first instinct is to throw it back into the water, so this must have taken an incredible amount of self-restraint. Jal Bundy has caught some weird things on camera while exploring the forest outside of his village late at night. In front of them is the white outline of a phantom apparition that for some reason stands out against a backdrop of total darkness. When they rush towards the apparition, You can see it shrinks into a small ball of paranormal energy and disappears around the tree. Is this strange ball of light edited, or really paranormal is what I want to know. I feel like this video could be real because it's late at night, they sound scared, and those woods look scary too. Freaky, right? This quick EVP is a direct message from the beyond.
Have you guys done a lot of investigations? Have you guys done a lot of investigations?
I'm sure you'll hear it. There's a crystal clear male voice whispering, "Go away." No one in the room seems to notice it. I don't think there's much room for interpretation here. The spirit gave us an order, so we should probably listen. This seems like his one warning.
Have you guys done a lot of investigations?
Do you believe in poltergeists? What if you're confronted with video proof? YouTuber Ethan Thurrock posted poltergeist activity happening in his office across 3 videos. In the first video, the office door closes on its own. Some paper towel moves, along with a computer cable followed by a tape dispenser on the desk. Then the computer monitor starts to blink on and off. The timestamp reads 6/9/2015. In the second video in the same room, a toy car moves across the desk to the very edge. The timestamp reads 6/10/2015. It's hard to tell if the last video is in the same room, as it's from a different camera and perspective, but it's filming while someone is in the office. As she's working on her computer, her coffee mug suddenly moves abruptly, spilling some coffee on her desk right next to her electronics. She jumps up to move everything out of the way. If you weren't a believer before, you'd be hard to explain this series of events. Jonathan FOD and his friends go exploring an abandoned meat processing facility building that everyone in town says is haunted, but the air quotes around ghost seems to mean he doesn't quite believe it.
So supposedly, there's a ghost that roams around here.
Soon he will.
Oh shit. Hey!
Who's here?
As Jonathan FOD and his 2 friends are ghost hunting in some kind of tool shed, they get what they think could be some paranormal evidence caught on tape.
What the? Bro, you heard that? Bro, what the fuck is that? Bro. Is anybody there? Oh.
All 3 of them are on camera when these noises happen. You can see they are just standing there with their hands down, so it can't be them. Maybe Jonathan had a 4th person making all of that noise, but I don't see how they could have faked that ghost EVP at 8 minutes and 50 seconds. It really does sound like the muffled voice of a small child.
What the? Bro, you heard that? Bro, what the fuck is that?
Who's there? Your worst nightmare. Posted by Deadhead Gillies to the Ghosts subreddit. The Redditor says there's something knocking in the walls, and we don't have to take her word for it because she has video proof. It sounds like someone is knocking insistently at the door, only there's no one there. She says this has continued for 2 months. She's not the only one to have had such an experience. Redditor Ritual Maniac writes in the comments that the same knocking pattern occurred at a house she once lived in, along with other paranormal happenings like voices, doors opening, running, etc. When they moved, everything, including the nightmares and unexplainable bad feelings, all vanished. The Redditor says this knocking wasn't heard initially and just started happening randomly as of late. At one point when her boyfriend lived there, he even heard laughing and whispering. The Redditor said after sending the videos to her grandmother, a pastor was supposed to come and visit, but of course an ongoing event began earlier this year and prevented that. Some in the comments think it's the pipes, others say it's likely a pesky animal, but myself and many others are leaning towards the paranormal. Game of Onions writes, let him in already. Must be cramped in there, but I wouldn't take that advice. Mr. Biggs is a giant iguana who is not behaving normally. He hardly recognizes his owner upon entering his room. And yes, Mr. Biggs does happen to have his own room.
See, there he goes. He tried to bite me.
The large lizard fits a single finger squarely in his mouth and clamps down, but a closer look reveals it's actually just an empty glove at the end of a ruler. As it turns out, Mr. Biggs was just hungry and not trying to take over. He might have even mistaken the glove for a big hunk of lettuce. Look at him here at 3 minutes and 7 seconds. You would never have expected this could be the same Mr. Biggs as before.
Yeah, he doesn't even care. Can wrangle him up.
Have you ever met a ghost on a cruise ship? Well, here's your chance. Published on July 25th, 2010 by YouTuber Jim Van Eekhout. This video allegedly captures the wails of the Queen Mary pool ghost. The retired ocean liner was active from the 27th of May 1936 to the 31st of October 1967 on the North Atlantic. According to some, the ship is haunted, and regular ghost tours visit the Queen in the wee hours of the morning to witness the supernatural. Not only that, but the historic treasure now operates as a museum, hotel, restaurant, and all-in-one tourist destination. While it may seem like the ghost stuff was just tacked on for the charm of it, some claim that a murder actually did occur on the ship in one of the staterooms, and the victim's ghost is said to haunt that room till this day. One of these tales seems to be that of a baby named Jackie who lurks near Queen Mary's pool. According to the uploader, there were no children in the tour group, which set out at 1 a.m., but listen closely. You hear that? It's a baby crying. The black and white video is creepy enough, with the empty deserted pool below and the crowd standing around with blank faces, but then you hear that eerie wailing of an infant, followed by the humming of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. It's enough to send chills up your spine. Although the humming is credited to one of the investigators, the baby's cries are credited to the ghost of Jackie, which leaves us wondering, what happened to baby Jackie, and why do her cries remain here? This footage comes from a hotel camera in New York that's near Niagara Falls. Shane Sovar is a hotel manager who claims to have seen a large triangular UFO shoot past by his window one night. An on-duty hotel security officer backs up this claim and says that he saw it too. They contact an amateur UFO group called the Aerial Phenomenon Investigations Team, who does a standard investigation and leaves. Things get very odd soon after. Around 2 weeks after the aerial phenomenon was finished their investigation, a pair of men dressed in all black suits reportedly entered the hotel and began to interrogate witnesses for more information. They specifically wanted to know where Shane and the hotel security guard could be found. Shane said that people who had spoken with the men later told him how strange they looked. They were tall, pale, had no eyebrows or eyelashes, and basically looked exactly the same. They had especially large and unsettling eyes, and one woman told Shane that she felt like they were able to read her mind. Whether these two men were simply businessmen on vacation or actual government agents is anyone's guess, but Shane swears that he is telling the truth. Exactly what the team of UFO investigators had found during their investigation, along with whatever these men were looking for, has never been released to the public. Trevor Dealey didn't show up for work and his co-workers are worried. He never misses work no matter what. When he misses another day, they call the Dublin police. Detectives check cameras. Trevor is a redhead over 6 feet tall, hard to miss. The year is 2000, so they don't have many CCTV systems, but they have enough. This is what they find. His co-workers were with him at an office party at a bar called Copperface Jack's. They move the party to a nightclub called Buck Whaley's, and Trevor Dealey stays there until close. It's about 3:30 a.m. at this point, and Trevor has already said goodbye to all of his co-workers. He will see them tomorrow. Trevor doesn't go home from there. He's in a good mood, so despite the wind and rain, he goes back to his place of work, a bank that's open 24/7, to grab an umbrella and to talk to some co-workers. Outside of the bank is someone else who doesn't mind the bad weather, a man dressed in all black. They cross paths at 3:34 in the morning. This man has been here since 3:05, simply standing around a bank in the middle of the night for about half an hour. He waits 8 seconds and then follows Trevor to a side gate. There they talk for 10 seconds. The stranger is as tall as Trevor and looks stronger. Trevor unlocks the gate. The man waits for at least a minute as Trevor talks to some people inside. He doesn't mention the man dressed in black, so he must not have felt in any danger, or else he would have no doubt asked for help. About half an hour later is when Trevor comes out with an umbrella. He unlocks the gate and heads home. The man dressed in black appears. 5 minutes later, Trevor leaves his best friend a voicemail. "Hi Glenn, I've missed you there. Just on my way home, all going good. I'll talk to you tomorrow." It was the last words anyone would hear from him. Trevor is on Haddington Road, except something looks wrong. He's in quite a hurry. 22 seconds passed and someone speed walks behind him, a person wearing all black, and that's where the trail ends. None of the other surveillance cameras show Trevor again. He was definitely moving fast in the last video. He could have been running because the rain got worse, but I'm fairly sure he was being stalked. Police were able to verify that the man dressed in black behind him was the same person who was at the bank. Standing outside of a bank for a half hour at night is shady to begin with, but then waiting for a half hour for someone to come out and following them for another 15 minutes home is all the circumstantial evidence detectives needed to determine Trevor had his life taken. They were never able to learn who the man dressed in black was. The disappearance remains an unsolved mystery 20 years later. Not even a 100,000 euro reward in recent years has been enough to make anyone step forward. With that said, the case was reopened in 2016. The video was uploaded by the National Police Force of Ireland and needs more attention. I would like to make the surveillance video go viral in hopes that someone has the answer. He probably lost his life, but we can't rule out being taken captive. Maybe we can help find him and give his remaining family closure. The Martinez twins are both excited about moving into a new house with an old friend. They are arguing over which rooms belong to who, when one of them notices a locked door leading to an unexplored part of the house. None of them have a key, so they pick the lock and step into a plain room with an empty chair. The old chair gives off a creepy vibe. It must have belonged to one of the previous owners. They are talking about what to do with it when suddenly they notice an attic entrance that needs to be checked out. They forget about the chair for now and climb a wooden ladder into a darkened attic, even though the insulation is making them cough, and one false step could send them falling through the ceiling. The group is determined to get to the other side and see what they can find. A small box is waiting for them at the end of their crawl space, but they don't open it up right away, choosing to look at a pile of old magazines from the 1920s instead. When they turn their attention back to the box, they find this old mysterious broken thing inside.
Bro, there's like a toy, bro. It works from here. Wait.
The others try to stop him, but it's too late. An eerie song fills the empty, dark attic space, perhaps for the first time in many years.
That's creepy. Bro, you wanna hold him? Oh wow, that's creepy.
There's an old Bible even farther back in the attic, but when the music box starts playing a few more notes all by itself, they decide they've seen enough and leave quick.
I stop it. Wow, that's creepy. Okay, let's go down.
All of these things seem like the perfect indications of a classic haunting that I certainly would want nothing to do with, but I'm curious what you think. Scary Russian dashcam video footage shows a man running away from an angry and aggressive bear. He uses his bike as a shield, but it doesn't seem to do him much good because the bear is on the verge of overpowering him when it suddenly retreats into the woods. There's no sound to this, but I'm guessing the only thing that scared this brown bear away was the car rolling up and laying on the horn. The biker was probably going to lose his life. So what could he have done better? One official working for the US National Park Service says that you should stay calm and not panic if possible. Apparently the biker should also not be backing away because that only encourages the bear to keep moving forward. Any threatening gesture like getting loud could make it angrier. There's another person down the road who is probably shouting and further agitating the bear. One New Jersey Fish and Wildlife official says that she and the other man could stand next to each other with their arms raised over their heads. Apparently, two of them together in this position might make the bear think twice about taking them on. So while that's all well and good, I'm pretty sure that if a bear came charging at me, I am still screaming my head off. Some things are just too scary. Take a look at this picture of Patty and Joe Martinez. Do you see anything wrong? Maybe if I circle it for you, it will help. This hideous creature over his shoulder looks like a dog at first, but its nose is too flat and pushed in, and a top row of human teeth form a snickering sneer. The yellow eyes are open as wide as possible, and there's a tiny pupil at the very bottom, meaning it is looking down at you. Photo experts have verified this picture is real, which is absolutely terrifying. After all, there's no reason for anything that scary to be anywhere near a wedding anniversary, especially behind you. This video was taken somewhere in South America, and it shows a man sitting on a table at a security monitoring station. Little does he know that he too is apparently being monitored, and not by a camera. After a while, this is what happens to him. Even the people reviewing the footage can't believe what they are seeing. Not only does a nearby chair move on its own, but it also moves in his general direction. It's almost as if the ghost is pulling up a seat directly across from him. Unbelievably, the man doesn't seem to notice this paranormal activity unfolding before him. At least at first. He is looking at his cell phone when suddenly it happens again. This time he sees it, and his reaction seems very legitimate as he becomes startled and tense. He looks behind him to make sure that the security camera is recording all of this for later evidence. Then he hops off the table and stares at the chair before him. Obviously scared now. He waits for it to move again, but it doesn't, so he goes over to inspect it more closely. This is probably the most convincing part of the video, because he would have seen a fishing line if it was a fake prank. Instead, he picks the chair up, puts it back in its place, and then puts a stand in front of it and gets out of there fast. I'm not saying that this video is absolutely 100% real, but it is certainly a possibility. What happens when the next generation wants nothing to do with the family property in the middle of nowhere? Published by Jordan Sovis, Jordan and Chris explore a house that's been abandoned out in the country for a couple of years. They crawl under the garage door and jimmy their way in using a credit card. Inside, they find a lovely piano for the ghost pianist to play. And while searching the place, they spot someone outside.
Dude, there's a dude outside.
What? Hasn't this place been abandoned for like ever?
Is this the home's caretaker? Or something else entirely? Using a pendulum, they start asking the ghosts questions. They ask if they're in good spirits, and they're told no. Later, they ask the spirits if they can make their presence known, and the spirit answers,
Are you present with us here in this house?
As they start to panic, the ghosts don't let up.
Did that seriously just happen?
Calm down, calm down. What is going on? Was that you?
For some reason, even after all of that, the guys stay. They again ask if there are spirits here, and this time the spirits reply with a song. The piano keeps playing, even after they've raced out of the house.
No way, dude.
Dude.
No way. Did that piano just seriously play by itself?
Do it again. Do it again. Do it again.
still they return. The piano continues to play and then this happens. Not long after, the ghost goes full on poltergeist. Now we can see why this home was abandoned in the first place.
What was it? Go. You go first, man.
I don't want to be in this
Dude,
place.
I don't want to.
Straight up.
Holy dude,
Why are you laughing right now? Seriously.
What is going on? I'm delirious.
While on a dirt road leading to a graveyard, this ghost hunter was hunted. Published by Scary and Mysterious Stuff in October of 2021, he casts his flashlight around in the trees while walking through the darkness. After a while, he starts hearing strange noises. Is that a cacophony of animals or something else? As the ghost hunter continues, he rounds a tree to see this robed figure standing not far off. The figure is very still and seems to have a light cast on its face. The ghost hunter doesn't stick around a second longer. He takes off running. Did he narrowly escape this horrific fate? Was he about to become a sacrifice? I think he may have walked right into a scary ritual. Police in Michigan need to find a woman who has fallen from a dock through the ice before it's too late. The officer comes across two fishermen holding on to a poor woman who fears for her life. If they let go, she's going under. There's little time left. She's freezing. Hypothermia is the name for a dangerous drop in body temperature. From prolonged exposure to cold, you can lose your life from it in as little as 5 minutes.
You got a hold of her?
Signs of hypothermia include red skin, fatigue,
Losing her strength.
and numbness.
Take a hand. Take the other one.
Completely numb.
So it's not looking good for her. Her core body temperature is lowering. Her organs are slowly turning off to preserve heat and protect the brain. They have one last chance to save her.
It's too hard. Come on. All right, stay right here. Stay right here.
I'm stuck.
Grab hold. 1, 2, 3. Up.
The police take over and get the job done in moments. One of the fishermen, an older gentleman, is absolutely exhausted and unable to stand by the time it's through. He and his friend are absolute heroes for not letting go until the police arrived, which actually took 15 minutes but to them felt like 5. The woman later said she was starting to lose consciousness, a sure sign that she couldn't have withstanded much longer in that cold water. Hopefully we can all learn from the scariest moments of her life and always be careful when fishing on the dock. Had other people not been around to help, she would have been lost beneath the ice. Although this haunted mansion has long been abandoned, its heart is still beating. Published by Lewis Clark in October of 2021, a group of paranormal explorers came across something incredibly chilling in this haunted home. On the door outside, black handprints are pasted with a trace of what I hope is ketchup down the middle. After entering the home, Lewis shows viewers where he found a lifeless body in a fridge the last time he entered. He says the fridge has now been removed.
This is where I found the dead body, right there, in a fridge. The fridge is no longer here. Right there. That was where the fridge was. I still see some.
In the darkness, Lewis plays a trick on his cameraman, but they soon find there's no need for tricks because this place is legit haunted. When they look more closely at the objects inside these canisters, they realize the chilling truth of what they are.
What is that then? What is that?
Getting a closer look, the organs appear to be hearts floating in red liquid. Although Lewis admits that they likely aren't human, how do we know for sure? I hope this team got a hold of the authorities just in case. Joe Pacini is obsessed with a singer named Sarah Bareilles, and he believes their destiny is to be together forever. He makes a bizarre YouTube video ranting about how members of the occult, the CIA, and the FBI are all working together to frame him and keep this romance from happening.
Clearly these guys want me dead. We're in prison. And there's no way I'm going back to prison. Nope.
The video is hard to understand because of his disjointed, rambling logic, but apparently there was some kind of incident at the local gym, and now a police detective is calling Joe's number.
Hello, my name is Matt Huffnell. I'm a detective with Haverford Township PD. I'm trying to reach Joe Pacini concerning an incident report that was made at the LA Fitness here in Havertown. Joe, could you give me a call at your earliest convenience?
This simple request sends Joe over the edge. Instead of calling the investigator back, Joe makes a series of YouTube videos threatening the investigator along with his entire department.
You want to try to bring me down? I will kill you and your whole family, alright? So go ahead.
Joe switches from calm and collected to yelling and screaming as he tells everyone to back off. He eventually calls the detective back and leaves a message telling him to check out his YouTube channel for more information. The police eventually find Joe driving around and immediately pull his vehicle over. According to their report, Joe backed his car into a cruiser and they took his life immediately. I was never able to find out what happened at the gym. So if you know why the police initially contacted him, then please let me know. Dennis Allen takes an inner tube down the local creek. It's something he's done often before, but this time it's raining and the currents are stronger than he has ever seen. Still, Dennis is confident in his abilities and bravely sets forward. The ride starts out gentle enough, but soon picks up speed as he moves into more open waters. Soon he really begins to regret not bringing a paddle, as he is carried through low-hanging branches and other thorny obstacles. He manages to keep his balance for about 5 minutes, until it becomes apparent that he can no longer hold on.
Oh shoot, this is too dangerous.
He is carried downstream and eventually clings to a bridge while water rushes beneath him. Dennis seems to be trying to stay calm, but I can detect some fear in his voice, perhaps more than he is meant to let on. He quickly realizes pulling himself out of the water is going to be a lot harder than he initially thought.
Oh, this was something stupid. Oh shoot.
Dennis slowly works his way to the shallow end without letting go, and eventually he climbs out with the help of a nearby bridge pole. Looking down, you can see he was clearly not exaggerating the danger. The current is strong enough to pull a full-grown man under. When a YouTuber named Noah Faddis learns that an old section of his school is haunted, he and his friends grab a camera and check it out. They are making a parody of shows like Ghost Hunters when suddenly their skit is interrupted by running footsteps and knocking on the walls. Noah sprints off to investigate while his friends hang back. Loud noises fill the hallway from all directions, and then everything gets way too quiet. The two remaining friends strain their eyes and hear Noah's twisted voice calling out for them.
Okay, we're done. No, let's go.
Soon Noah comes around the corner looking vicious and ready for a confrontation. Either this entire video is just a school project, or whatever is down here seems to have claimed Noah for themselves, and I doubt they are giving him back anytime soon. I want to know what you think about this interesting paranormal video posted by Darkalooz. First, 2 pieces of his overhead vent fall off, but when it happens, the camera freezes. So is this an electronic interference from spirits, or is it poor editing? Next, this chair turns all by itself. It's by a window and behind a table, and therefore far out of reach. Perhaps eeriest of all are these 2 legs with no upper reflection. You would logically assume this is Darkaloo's recording, but if it was, as one commenter points out, then where is the rest of him? Phil LaJoya decides to take on the Candyman challenge based on the 90s horror flick of the same name. You're supposed to recite his name 3 times in a row, and then you will have a sighting of him. The man with a hook for a hand, usually in the mirror, as the legend goes.
Candyman? Candyman? Candyman. What the? That is not happening.
It's too dark for Phil to have a sighting, but the drawer does open while he is standing completely still. And it's followed by 2 more scary banging noises, a sign that Candyman is near. Something about his home feels different now, a change in air pressure, like a presence is now with him. He goes outside and 3 ghost orbs follow him.
See here. Hello? Hello? Anybody here?
An orb appears every time he says hello. He doesn't really see anything else out of place, but he knows that something is near. So Phil creeps up on the mirror for one last look, and that's when he sees it.
Oh, you guys see that go across my camera? Man, what the f?
It's hard to see, but play in slow motion and you'll see the shadowy figure of the Candyman looking at him through the mirror. He is standing behind Phil and is slightly shorter. Then again, this could just be Phil's own shadow cast behind him by the light in the mirror. Do you think this paranormal encounter is real? Or is this paranormal investigator likely afraid of their own shadow? To be fair though, if I saw that shadow behind me, I wouldn't stay there either. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.